Hey guys, today I want to talk about saline breast implants. Now today there are two types of saline implants on the market. There is the Natrel and Mentor saline implant. It's the one that's been on the market forever. And then there is also, as of 2014, the Ideal implant became FDA approved, and it is also a saline option. Now, this can be a deep rabbit hole. So today I'm just going to talk about the basics of saline implants. And then my next video, I'm going to dive in with the difference between the two of these are. So the overall feel of a saline breast implant can feel less like breast tissue. And I know a lot of women get to feel both types during their consultation. And you'll find that the silicone implant does mimic breast tissue way better than salines. They typically tend to feel more firm. I have saline breast implants, and let's say you're working out and you lay on your stomach. You may not, but I do. I feel, you can see kind of like the pressure. Like it doesn't really give a whole lot, so it feels like you're laying on something. It doesn't really squish like breast tissue does. And if that is something that is important to you, the way it feels, you want it to feel most like breast tissue, then I would definitely consider silicone over saline if that's what's most important to you, especially if you don't have a lot of breast tissue to start out with. That's important. One really cool thing about saline implants is the shell, like this silicone, it's made of silicone shell, but it comes empty. So it actually gets filled in the operating room. So that allows for your incision site to be much smaller than a silicone, because a silicone implant comes pre-filled. It's already like its shape and size and everything. But a saline, all these S's, the saline comes empty, so you just have the shell and you can make a very small incision site, put the shell in, and then you push the saline solution into the shell once it's already placed in the breast pocket. So that's pretty cool. Another thing about saline implants is like a common complication to look out for. Because it's not very taut on the sides, you're at risk for more rippling. I don't know if you can see that, but when the implant, this one's pretty overfilled. I actually filled this one for fun. But the sides can be like ripply, kind of ripply like that if you don't overfill it. And what overfilling is when, this is a 400cc implant. So it's built for 400, but you can also add an extra 25 to 50 cc's just to plump it up, to like plump up the sides so they're more rounded as opposed to wrinkly. Because that wrinkling, if you don't start out with enough breast tissue, you can see that through your skin. So I'm not saying only salines are like that. Sometimes silicone gels can do that, but it's not as common as with saline. So if you are super pumped about getting saline implants, I would make sure you have enough breast tissue to start out with to cover the implant, and also opt for going under the muscle, because that's going to reduce any chance of rippling possible. And lastly, one really cool thing about the saline implant is, this is one of the reasons I chose saline. And everybody's different, but I wanted to know when I had a rupture immediately. So with silicone implants, it's recommended by the FDA that you get an MRI every 2 years just to monitor the integrity of the shell, to make sure there's no ruptures or cracks or anything like that. But for me, it was really important that if I had any damage to my shell, I knew immediately. Which also kind of sucks, because if my implants rupture, I'm going to have a deflated breast, but I'm going to know like ASAP, and that was important to me. Also, when your implants rupture, it's saline, and if you don't know what saline is, it is sodium chloride. It's the same stuff that you get in the hospital in an IV bag, so your body knows how to process it. It's sterile saltwater solution is what it is. It will sting when it ruptures. That's what I've heard. I actually haven't had a rupture. Hallelujah. But I'm not guaranteed not to have one. But it will sting a little bit because it's salt water, but my body will absorb it and it knows what to do with it. So I do like that. And another thing about saline is it's typically typically $1,000 cheaper than silicone implants, probably because it's not pre-filled. Like it's not, it comes like an empty shell and the doctor fills it. So it's like a lot less work for the implant manufacturer. So yeah, it's less, it's cheaper, which I like too. So yeah, if Saline's for you and you have questions for me, or if you're just curious to know something I didn't cover on saline implants, leave a comment below. I'll be more than happy to answer it. Otherwise, thanks for watching.